we can't really create a just society without climate justice. In 2014, I knew that climate change was an issue, but it wasn't something that I thought was at the foundation of every single political issue of the age.
Later this year, Glasgow is set to host the United Nations Climate Change Conference, or COP26, after it was delayed by the pandemic. This meeting of policymakers comes at a pivotal time for preserving the natural environment in Scotland, with WWF Scotland claiming that 1 in 9 Scottish species are at risk of extinction, after 11 targets for extinction prevention were missed last year. I spoke to Sean Currie, a climate justice organiser and COP26 delegate with the Federation of Young European Greens, on the issues at hand.
I think that the answer to whether the solutions are individual or societal is really complex. Neither is really sufficient. There has to be something systemic. The very way that we produce energy is so catastrophic for our planet. I can travel by train, turn my heating off, I can heat locally and things like this, but by the very fact of living in a Western developed country, a country in the global north that consumes so much energy, I will be emitting so much carbon that I'm not living in a way that if everyone in the world did that, we would be living sustainably. And get more and more individuals, not just to start living sustainably, more sustainably, but also talk about how they're living more sustainably and putting pressure on governments, on local authorities, on companies to also do things more sustainably. Then there can be a time at which we reach a social tipping point where that is important enough that, for example, a country, a government goes to COP26 and sees that their population thinks it's a priority that they actually act on climate change so that they do it. Because when we don't have an international mechanism to make countries keep to these agreements, we need individuals across society in Scotland, in the UK, and across the world to put pressure on from below. Like, things I think have to be told in stories, right? Something relatable is the fact that if we reach 4 degrees of heating compared to pre-industrial temperatures, 2/3 of Southern Europe is likely to be in constant drought, right? Now, we can think of all the things we know about Southern Europe, all the wine that comes from Southern Europe, the places we go on holiday to Southern Europe, and that those places not being able to get enough water at any time of year ever, like, that's not a suitable place for human beings to live. You can see that the people who are responsible for all this are also the people who are running our economies. They're also the people who are often most powerful in our societies. And so I think that as COVID-19 makes people's lives really difficult, I think it can actually just fan the flames of anger and of discontent that people in societies have.
COP26 will be the biggest summit the UK has ever hosted and will lay out the plan for future climate action. The UK government declared 2020 a year of climate action, pledging to reduce the country's carbon emissions to net zero by 2050. However, with countries already missing key wildlife preservation targets, the pressure is on to prevent the worsening climate emergency.